The day before Christmas, my husband, Ethan, came downstairs, dressed to go out. I was cooking. He walked over to me. "I won't be home for Christmas. Will you be okay on your own?" Before I could ask why, he said, "She's pregnant. The baby is mine. I have to be with her." My hand trembled, and the milk carton slipped from my grasp, shattering on the floor. Why tell me now? Of all times. Seeing his silence, I knew our marriage was over. I choked out the words, "Ethan, let's get a divorce." "Amelia, haven't I been good enough to you? Why do you want a divorce?" Even the calmest, most rational person would find it hard not to break down at those words. I grabbed the ashtray from the coffee table and threw it at him. Why, Ethan, you're with another woman, and you have the nerve to ask me why. Don't you find this absurd?" Ethan didn't flinch. Glass shattered everywhere. A bruise instantly formed on his forehead. Still not satisfied, I threw the books, magazines, everything on the table at him. Ethan didn't even frown, just stood there, unmoving. Finally, I smashed my favorite vase, the one filled with flowers I had just picked from the garden this morning. Ethan was a very reserved person. Before we were married, his room was decorated in cool, impersonal tones. It had no sense of life. Every week, I would buy flowers to decorate the rooms, to make them feel warmer. After we got married, I had meticulously designed the entire villa with an interior designer, personally selecting every piece of furniture and decor. Our once warmest home, our home, was now in ruins, destroyed by my own hands. Ethan watched me quietly, as if looking at a madwoman, his eyes strange, exhausted from the destruction. I covered my face and sank to the floor, sobbing helplessly. Ethan walked over and stood before me. After a long moment, he lifted me from the floor, cleared a corner of the sofa, and set me down. He knelt in front of me, his eyes filled with what looked like pity, and gently wiped the tears from my cheeks with his thumb. "Amelia, don't be like this. It hurts me to see you." I saw my own reflection in his eyes, tear-streaked and pathetic. I was stunned for a moment. How did it come to this? I raised my hand and wiped the tears from my face, composing myself. "Do you remember what you promised me? You said we would be together forever, through thick and thin, until we grew old." "But Ethan, we've only been married for 3 years, and you've already betrayed me, betrayed our marriage. How long have you two been together?" Ethan quickly looked away, unable to meet my gaze. "Almost a year, so they had known each other for that long." I dug my nails into my palm, a bitter smile on my face. "Why did you choose to tell me now? Why didn't you just keep hiding it?" Ethan sat down beside me in silence, took out a lighter, and lit a cigarette. The smoke blurred his sharp features. "I didn't want to lie to you. I didn't want to lie to you." What a hollow, hypocritical phrase. If he didn't love me anymore, he could have just told me. We could have gotten a divorce. I'm not the type to cling desperately, but he chose to cheat. "She's a young girl, in her early 20s, cute and lively. She's not like you. She doesn't refuse the things I buy her, the money I give her. She's very clingy, and she likes to be playful." As he spoke, a light seemed to appear in his eyes, which then dimmed as he looked at me. "But Amelia, you're not like that. You make me feel distant. I'm your husband, the person closest to you." "But Ethan, I've always been this way. A bit dull, a bit cold. My upbringing, my family relationships, they shaped me this way. I don't know how to be playful. I don't like to trouble others. I even keep a clear tally with the people closest to me. I've been trying to change, trying to learn to rely on him, but when I needed him, when I was in the hospital after a car accident and called him, where was he? You have sweet and sour pork on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and scrambled eggs with tomatoes on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'm actually sick of it. I'm tired of this lukewarm life." I didn't understand. The table was full of dishes. Only those two were my favorites. The rest were his. Why was he so fixated on those two? "Amelia, you're like a bowl of plain porridge, tasteless but a waste to throw away. But she's different. She's like a piece of candy, and I'm willing to drown in her sweetness." A smile touched Ethan's lips, a smile of indulgence, of sweetness. "She's a bold girl. She invited me to an amusement park and wanted to go to the haunted house first. She stood there with her hands on her hips, saying she wasn't scared, but once we were inside, she was so frightened she jumped into my arms and made me carry her. Her heart was pounding that day. Thump, thump, thump. She wrapped her arms around my neck, her face flushed, and boldly kissed me. I should have refused, but I didn't. Stop it." The pain was so intense it was numbing. I was starting to break down. "Amelia, Ethan, I'm begging you, please stop." The living room fell silent. Ethan's phone rang. He took it out. glanced at me, and answered it right in front of me. A girl's sweet voice came from the receiver. "I'm hungry. When are you coming back?" Hungry. As Ethan looked at me, I almost immediately stood up and started searching for something. Yes, the baby and I are both hungry. Wait for me. I'll be there to feed you both. A chill ran through me. I pressed my hands to my head. What was I looking for? My phone. Yes, my phone. What if there was an important work message I had missed? What if I missed an important call? Be good, baby. I'll be there to see you soon. I love you, honey. Mwah. I tried desperately to block out the sounds from the outside world. I wished I were deaf, but I wasn't. Ethan's light, happy voice washed over me like a tide. Only when my nails drew blood from my palm did I begin to calm down. Ethan had finished his call at some point and was standing behind me. "She's getting impatient over there. I have to go. I'll explain everything to my mom. If you don't want to go to the family estate tomorrow, you can stay here." He paused, then added, "Do you need me to call the housekeeper to stay with you for Christmas?" "That's probably not a good idea. It's Christmas Eve tomorrow. Everyone should be with their families." Ethan was talking to himself, so he knew tomorrow was Christmas Eve, a time for family. Then what was I? A complete stranger to him. I picked up the kettle and poured myself a glass of hot water. The warm liquid slid down my throat, dispelling half the chill in my body. "Ethan, let's get a divorce." At the entryway, Ethan's movement of putting on his shoes paused. "I promise to be good to you for the rest of our lives. Amelia, if you want, you will always be Mrs. Hayes. We can just go on as before. And her, I'll buy a villa and set her up there. I won't let her bother you." Ethan left. I was alone in the ruined living room. Before he left, he had come over and wiped away my tears. With the same mouth that had kissed me 1,000 times, he said words that hurt me. "Amelia, be good. She won't fight with you over anything." I numbly walked up the stairs and back to my room. I looked at our wedding photo. The girl in the picture was smiling so happily, her face filled with joy. I went to the bathroom and washed my face. The woman in the mirror was a mess, her eyes red, her face streaked with tears. I slowly raised my hand. "Amelia, you shouldn't be like this." Cold water splashed on my face. I told myself I shouldn't be sad, but with so many years of feelings, how could I not be sad? I collapsed onto the bed, wishing everything that had just happened was a dream. I woke up. The events of yesterday were still fresh in my mind, a constant reminder that it was all real. My phone vibrated. It was a call from Ethan's mother. I didn't answer, just stared at my computer screen. A moment later, the phone rang again. After a moment's hesitation, I answered. "Amelia, it's Christmas today. You and Ethan should come home early." I held the phone, not knowing what to say. "Amelia, Ethan, did he not tell you anything? What's wrong? Did you two have a fight?" That rascal isn't even answering his phone. "It's nothing. As long as everything is okay, just remember to come home early with Ethan." Some things are better said in person, but before going to the Hayes family home, I needed to make a stop at a coffee shop. The once bustling streets were deserted because of Christmas. I checked several shops, but they were all closed. The biting wind whipped at me. I clutched my coat tighter. Just when I thought I wouldn't be able to get it printed, I saw a copy shop that was still open. I suddenly thought, maybe my luck wasn't so bad after all. The owner asked what I needed to print. If I needed help, I smiled politely and said no. The owner was taken aback, probably wondering who would come to print a divorce agreement on Christmas. He quickly bound the document and handed it to me. He said, "Happy New Year." My hand, about to pay, froze. She was the first person to wish me a Happy New Year today. Not my family, not even Ethan. My eyes suddenly stung. I said, "Happy New Year." After leaving the shop, I looked up and took a deep breath. I put the document in my bag and called Ethan. "Are you going to the family estate?" "He's in the shower. He can't take a call right now." "Is there something you need, Miss Hayes? I can pass on a message." It wasn't Ethan who answered, but his young lover. Her words were filled with provocation. "Please tell Ethan that his mother wants him to come home." When I arrived at the Hayes family home, Ethan's mother was in the kitchen preparing ingredients. I walked in with my things. "Why are you here alone? Where's that rascal Ethan?" Faced with their questions, I didn't know what to say. "Ethan is busy. He'll be here later." "So busy on Christmas Day?" I told him to come home early. I'd like to see what he's so busy with. Ethan's father took out his phone to call him. I didn't stop him, nor did I care. I went to the kitchen to help. Ethan's parents had always been good to me, and it was Christmas. There was no need to make everyone unhappy. I would talk about my and Ethan's affairs another day. We were busy all afternoon, but Ethan never showed up. As it was getting dark, We were just about to sit down to eat. Ethan arrived, but he wasn't alone. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Ethan was carrying a gift in one hand and holding a girl's hand with the other. He probably thought I had already told his parents. The sound of fireworks outside was perfectly timed, as if to congratulate him and her on finally being together. The fireworks stopped. Ethan's parents looked at each other, sensing something was wrong. What time is it? You finally decided to show up. Ethan's mother's gaze swept over the girl beside him. On such an important day, why did you bring an outsider home? The girl, perhaps frightened, instinctively leaned against Ethan. Ethan frowned at me, as if he didn't want to see me. A few seconds later, he smiled and held up their intertwined hands. He said, Mom, Dad, she's not an outsider. Her name is Haley. We're together. The words caused a stir. Only I sat there, awkwardly. Ethan's father slammed his teacup on the table. You rascal, your wife is right here. Do you know what you're saying? Ethan lowered his eyes, hesitating for a moment. Who doesn't make mistakes in their youth? And who said a person can only love one person in their lifetime? He looked at the girl with deep affection and said firmly, Haley and I are truly in love. We're serious. This is not a joke. Those words were so familiar. When Ethan's parents had agreed to our relationship, they had not approved of our marriage. They said marriage was not just about two people, but two families. The Hayes family was a prominent family in the city. They had hoped Ethan would marry a woman of equal social standing, someone who could help his career. But my family background was a mess. I was abandoned by my parents. I had no one. I only had myself. Mom, Dad, I truly love Amelia. Amelia, don't try to run away. You don't have to do anything. Just let me handle it. I just ask that you don't back away. Okay. At that time, his eyes were only for me. He was so affectionate, so sincere, so good. I couldn't bear to let him face it alone. I didn't want to be a burden to him, a dead weight. I worked so hard during that time. I wanted to prove to his parents that even without an excellent family background, I could help him with my own abilities. And I succeeded. But Ethan, now you've made me lose completely. Ethan's father's hand was trembling with anger. He pointed at his nose and cursed. You ungrateful son. Are you trying to kill me? He raised his hand and slapped Ethan hard across the face. Ethan's mother, seeing the blood at the corner of her son's mouth, was heartbroken and quickly pulled her husband back. She said to Ethan in a cold voice, Ethan, what are you standing there for? Kneel and apologize to your father. At this, Haley immediately stepped in front of Ethan. Uncle, Auntie, please don't blame Ethan. It's all my fault. When did it become your place, an outsider, to interfere in our family's affairs? Ethan's mother looked the girl up and down. You look young, like a girl from a good family. Do you know the meaning of propriety and shame? You could be doing anything with your life, but you choose to do something so disgraceful. Haley's eyes filled with tears. She was nearly crying from Ethan's mother's words. She bit her lip and looked down, not saying a word, as if she had suffered a great injustice. Ethan was about to argue with his mother, but Haley stopped him. She shook her head at him. I'm fine. Don't argue with your mother because of me. Ethan stroked her hair with a pained expression and helped her sit down. Mom, Dad, didn't you always want a grandchild? What do you mean? Haley is pregnant. The baby is mine. In an instant, the living room fell deathly silent. Everyone's gaze fell on me, waiting for me to speak. It was Haley who finally broke the silence. I know I was wrong. I don't expect you to forgive me. She placed her hand on her stomach and looked at me. I never wanted to compete with you. Never thought of taking your place as Mrs. Hayes. I just love Ethan so much. I just want to safely give birth to our child. I know you can never have children again. Miss Hayes, if you are willing, after the baby is born, you can raise him. You will be his real mother. What considerate words. The sound of her abacus was so loud it was practically ringing in my ears. If you don't want to see me, Miss Hayes, that's fine. I can leave. I don't want to cause any trouble between you and Ethan, and I certainly don't want him to fight with his parents because of me. My hand, uncontrollably, went to my stomach. There used to be a baby here. If the child were still alive, he would have been born several months ago. A car accident had taken my child and had also damaged my body, leaving me unable to conceive again. Ethan had said he didn't really like children, that he wanted to spend his life just with me. I always knew he was lying. He loved children. Now his wish had come true. Ethan's mother sighed and changed her tone. The child in her belly is, after all, a Hayes. Amelia, what do you think? Maybe we should let her have the baby first. If you don't want to, your father and I can raise him. Ethan's father said. Amelia, although Ethan has wronged you in this matter, he is our only son. The Hayes family cannot be without an heir. Ethan's expression was complicated. If you are unwilling, we can get a divorce. At this moment, I felt like an unlit lamp in the dark. Their eyes were all on me, waiting for me to light up, waiting for my decision. It seemed this New Year's Eve dinner was not going to happen. I calmly stood up from my chair and untied my apron. Fine, you all decide. Ethan's pupils constricted, as if he was surprised I would agree. His parents praised me for being understanding. A good wife. I didn't respond. I turned, took the divorce agreement from my bag, and handed it to him. Let's get a divorce. You can marry her. Ethan didn't take it. He stared at me, his eyes dark, filled with 1,000 emotions. Have you thought this through? I've already signed. I hope you can sign it soon so we can get it finalized. I placed it directly on the table. I couldn't be bothered to see their expressions. I grabbed my bag and walked out. Christmas Eve was so lively. Not only were there fireworks all over the city, but the first snow of the season was falling. I reached out my hand to catch it. A snowflake landed on my palm. The cold seeped into my bones, making me shiver. The liveliness was theirs. The loneliness and cold were mine. Amelia. It was Ethan. He had followed me. I composed myself and turned. Give me some time. I'll move out as soon as I can. He stood there, tall and elegant, about 5 steps away from me. The dim streetlight cast a soft glow on his face, softening his sharp features. After a long moment, he managed to choke out, "I'm sorry." What was the use of being sorry now? I broke my promise. I betrayed your trust. I couldn't give you the love you wanted, the lifetime you wanted. I'm a bastard. I'll sign the divorce agreement. Good. Just as I was about to turn, he called out to me, "Amelia, what do you want as compensation? A car, a house, or money, whatever you want, as long as it's within my power. I will do my best to make it up to you." I looked at the snowflakes drifting in the night sky, suppressing the bitterness in my heart. I want the largest Harborview villa in the city center. Okay. I want 50% of the shares in your company. Can you give me that? Can you give me 100 million? Ethan looked at me. As long as you ask, I can give it all to you. I asked with a bitter laugh. In your eyes, can all the pain you've caused me be solved with money? He said, money is all I can give you. What if I want you to leave with nothing? The air around us seemed to freeze. Ethan frowned, standing straight. After a moment, he said, Amelia, I'm sorry, I can agree to the first few conditions, but not the last one. My parents care most about their reputation. If I leave with nothing, it will also affect the Hayes Corporation. Forgive me for not being able to agree. The snow and wind grew stronger. Ethan pushed the umbrella into my hand and silently walked away. I woke up and started packing my things. I heard the sound of the door closing downstairs. It was Ethan. A few minutes later, he knocked on my bedroom door. I brought you breakfast. You should eat something before you pack. I was hungry, so I didn't refuse. On the rectangular dining table were steamed dumplings, millet porridge, and my favorite soy milk. Ethan sat across from me, looking hesitant. You don't have to move. You can have this house. I drank my porridge. No, thank you. There were too many memories here, good and bad. I didn't want it to become a cage for me. People move on from sad places eventually. Ethan frowned. Take better care of yourself in the future. Eat less instant noodles. It's not healthy. I had come back too late yesterday. Everything was closed for Christmas. I couldn't order takeout, and I was too lazy to cook, so I had to eat instant noodles. He must have seen the packaging in the trash, but we were about to get a divorce. Why was he still so concerned about me? I picked up my chopsticks and dipped a dumpling in vinegar. It was still my favorite flavor. Why did it taste so sour? I moved into the apartment I had bought a long time ago. It wasn't big, but it was enough. I wouldn't be homeless. I didn't know Ethan then. Everyone said to buy a car before a house, but for me, a car was just a tool for transportation. Optional. A house was my sanctuary. Just as I finished unpacking, a call came from an unknown number. Amelia, can you see me one last time? I stood by the window, hesitating for a long time, but in the end, I decided to go. In the restaurant, the well-dressed, sharp, and capable woman in front of me was my biological mother. She was flipping through the menu. What would you like to eat? I didn't speak. She wasn't angry. Braised fish, sweet and sour pork. I remember you used to love those when you were little. I cut her off mercilessly. Did you ask me here just to eat? Victoria stiffened for a moment, then closed the menu. How have you been lately? The Hayes family. Is Ethan good to you? I retorted. And you? How have you been all these years? I've been fine. The meal was tasteless. Victoria suddenly placed a card in front of me. The pin is your birthday. I know you resent me. You hate me. But this is a small token from me as a mother. I clenched my fists. I don't need it. She had ignored me for so many years. What was this now? Belated concern and motherly love. They say bungee jumping is a chance to be reborn. So I came. I was too scared before. Afraid of heights. I could hear the frantic screams from the top, even from the ground. Now I wanted to experience it for myself. To see if it really would make me feel reborn. The wind on the platform was strong. And the view was beautiful. After the safety measures were in place, before the staff even started the countdown, I closed my eyes and jumped. The wind roared in my ears as my body plummeted, as if falling into an endless abyss. After a brief moment of weightlessness, an endless rebound, as my body bounced back up to its highest point and then fell again, I felt like I was going to die. I screamed like the others, venting all my emotions. After the bungee jump, I was not reborn. People always hope for a moment of sudden enlightenment, a change of destiny. In reality, traveling, bungee jumping, they only provide a brief sense of freedom, a moment of relaxation, without suffering, without struggling through the mud, without crying in the dark. How can one so easily achieve enlightenment? Everyone hopes for a smooth life, but no one's life is truly smooth. In the evening, just as I got home, a call came from the hospital. Miss Hayes, your mother is in critical condition. We hope you can come to the hospital as soon as possible. My phone crashed to the floor. I stumbled to find her room. Victoria was lying on the bed, her face pale, an oxygen mask on. I stood at the door, almost not recognizing her. She had seemed fine just a few days ago. Amelia, what are you doing here? Her attitude suddenly turned hostile. Go away. I don't want to see you. I don't need your pity. I walked over and sat down. If the hospital hadn't called me, do you think I would want to be here? I had resented her, hated her, for abandoning me, but I never wanted her to die. In that moment, I realized I didn't hate her anymore. The thorn in my heart had long since dissolved. Victoria's voice was hoarse. I never wanted to abandon you, Amelia. Your father wouldn't give you to me. I fought with him, argued, but it was no use. When I calmed down, I realized your father was right. You would have only suffered with me. I had just lost my job. How could I support you? I had no time to take care of you. Your father was different. He had a steady income. I thought you would be better off with him. In the end, I compromised and sent him child support every month. I tried to find you. He wouldn't let me see you. Later, your father remarried. I wanted to take you with me. When I saw you, you said you hated me, that you never wanted to see me again. For all these years, I could only watch you from a distance. That's because I thought you had abandoned me, that you didn't want me. I didn't know. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely take you with me. Tears of regret streamed down her face. The heart monitor beeped erratically. I said with a tearful smile, I don't hate you anymore, Mom. But she couldn't hear me. She would never hear me again. I collapsed by her bedside, crying like a child. The phone rang over and over. It was Ethan. I didn't answer. There was nothing left for us to talk about. The day I went to the hospital, I saw him. To be precise, not just him, but his parents and Haley as well. They were all with her at her checkup, treating her like a precious jewel, afraid someone would bump into her. Unlike me, when I was in the operating room after my miscarriage from the car accident, there was no one by my side. I had to sign the papers myself, enduring the intense pain. And where was Ethan then? I don't know. I couldn't even reach him by phone. He didn't show up at the hospital until the next morning. He knelt by my bedside, slapping his own face, saying he shouldn't have drunk so much. He shouldn't have been absent at such an important time. Maybe he was with Haley that night. It was possible. The phone rang relentlessly. This time, it was from an unknown number. I answered. Ethan's drunken, low voice came through. Amelia, where are you? Why haven't you come back? I'm drunk. I want to eat the sweet rice balls you make. Amelia, will you make them for me? A few seconds of silence. Amelia, why aren't you answering me? I looked at the night view outside the window, the scattered city lights. You can ask Haley to make them for you, or the housekeeper. Don't call me anymore. I don't want them. Amelia, I want the ones you make. Ethan, I called his name. Tomorrow at 10 in the morning, the city hall, for the paperwork. Don't forget. I heard the sound of a bottle shattering on the other end, but it had nothing to do with me. The next day, I woke up early. I'll pick you up. No need. Ethan didn't give me a chance to refuse and hung up. He arrived quickly, just like countless times before. He thoughtfully opened the car door for me, his hand shielding the top of the doorframe to prevent me from hitting my head. But we were not as close as we used to be. With nothing to say, the whole ride, we didn't say a word. The scenery outside the window flew by. There were very few people at the city hall for divorces, but we still had to wait. The moment the stamp came down, Ethan and I were no longer husband and wife. Coming out, I saw a couple holding hands, coming to get their marriage license. I was in a daze for a moment. Ethan and I had once entered this place with such hope, only to have our marriage end in failure and return here to end our relationship. Walking down the long flight of stairs, the sky was so blue, and I felt a sense of relief. "Let me give you a ride," I smiled. "No, thank you, this time, I really didn't need it, honey." Not far away, a very pregnant Haley walked over and linked her arm with Ethan's, asserting her claim. She really didn't need to. After all, I really didn't love him anymore. "What are you doing here? Didn't we agree, today, after you and Miss Hayes finalize your divorce, we'll get our marriage license? Did you forget?" Ethan rubbed his temples. "I know. I had no time to watch their lovey-dovey display and was about to leave." "Miss Hayes, is there anything else?" She held her belly and smiled gently. "In a little while, Ethan and I are getting married. I hope you can come to our wedding. After all, you're a mutual friend. I'm very busy, not as idle as you, Miss Haley. Before my mother passed away, she told me, if one day your marriage is unhappy, never settle, never compromise. I brought you into this world, gave you an education, not so you could become someone's wife, someone's mother. Don't let a failed marriage drag you down. Never think of relying on a man for the rest of your life. You have to become a better version of yourself, realize your own worth." With her last bit of strength, she pushed the bank card into my hand again. "Mommy hopes my Amelia can be happy." 6 months after I started working in London, Ethan's mother found me. She hoped I would go back and see him. "Ma'am, Ethan and I have no relationship anymore. I have no obligation to see him." The once immaculately dressed woman was now much older, no longer as youthful as she used to be. Ethan's mother choked, on the verge of tears. "Amelia, I know what Ethan did was wrong. We were wrong too. Please, for the sake of the past, go back and see him. I'm begging you." She knelt before me. I tried to help her up, but she wouldn't budge. "You don't know. Haley never loved Ethan. She was just after our family's money." She said that after Haley gave birth, she took the 10 million the Hayes family gave her and ran off with someone else. "Ethan doesn't have long to live. He talks about you every day. Amelia, I'm begging you, go back and see him." I had no choice but to agree. I took 2 days off and went back with her. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic. Ethan was lying on the bed, his face ashen. When he saw me, he managed a faint smile. "Amelia, it's so good to see you again. I thought you would never want to see me again." Seeing him again, my heart was calm, no longer in the same excruciating pain as before. Although I didn't say a word, he continued to talk. "I know I look terrible right now. It's all my own fault. You must be laughing at me in your heart, for getting myself into this mess. I couldn't watch anymore. Ethan, who are you putting on this act for? If you're sick, get treatment. Don't make your parents worry about you." His eyes were red. "It's no use. It's incurable." His parents had told me that after the baby was born, Ethan hadn't even looked at him once. When the nanny brought the baby to him, he would yell, "Who let you bring him in here? Get out." After a few times, no one dared to mention the child to him anymore. I had seen the child. He was chubby and cute, and he always made me think of my own child. How wonderful it would be if he were still here. Ethan was in a wheelchair, his lips pale. If back then, if that hadn't happened, would we be very happy now? I thought. No. Once you have such unbearable thoughts, you will eventually fall. Once is enough to lead to a second time, and even countless more. Just like a man who loves to smoke, you can't stop him. Even without Haley, there would have been others. Raindrops trickled down the window pane. Ethan looked up at me. "I never really liked Haley. It doesn't matter anymore." He couldn't control his own restless heart, his own body. What was the point of making excuses now? He looked away, staring at the rain outside. "Amelia, do you hate me very much? Are you very disappointed in me?" I shook my head. He insisted on asking me, "Do you hate me?" I said I didn't. The deeper the love, the deeper the hate. But I had no love for him, so how could there be hate? "If there's nothing else, I should go." He didn't turn back, his voice hoarse. "Okay." I had only taken a few steps when I heard a soft sob from behind me. I didn't stop for him, and I never would. If it weren't for his mother's humble, desperate pleas, I would not have come back to see him. The day I returned to London, it was pouring rain. An assistant was pushing Ethan in his wheelchair at the airport. They had been waiting for who knows how long. I got out of the car and closed my umbrella. His lips were pale, his voice low. "Amelia, have a safe trip." I nodded and walked into the airport. I didn't say goodbye, because from then on, we would never meet again. Not long after, Ethan passed away from his illness. I didn't go back. I didn't plan to attend the funeral. The past is the past. Don't look back. Look forward. Epilogue. The day I was diagnosed with cancer, I felt like my world was collapsing. I couldn't accept it. And I didn't know how to tell Amelia. I chose to escape, to drink myself into a stupor at a bar. That night, at the bar, I saw Haley being harassed and stepped in to help her. In my drunken haze, I mistook her for Amelia and slept with her. I didn't know that day. Amelia had called me many times. I didn't know she had been in a car accident. By the time I rushed to the hospital, it was the next morning. I knelt on the floor and repented. Amelia was angry. It took me a long time to win her back. I went for another checkup, refusing to believe I could have cancer at such a young age. They must have made a mistake, but the results were just as disappointing. During this time, I kept in touch with Haley. I learned she had a gambling-addicted father and was forced to work at a bar to pay off his debts. I felt sorry for her and paid off her debts. I allowed her to be in my life. When I was with her, I could vent all my frustrations. To be precise, ever since the diagnosis, I had been suppressing my emotions and desperately needed an outlet, or I would have gone insane. But I couldn't do that to Amelia. I was recklessly cheating on her. At the same time, I was terrified she would find out. I suddenly thought, it would have been better if I had never gotten cancer. The better Amelia treated me, the more guilty I felt. I had wronged her, until Haley suddenly told me she was pregnant. I started to confess to Amelia, blaming part of it on her. Seeing her cry, my heart ached. Ethan, let's get a divorce. Hearing her say that, I should have been happy. She deserved someone better. I shouldn't hold her back, but I wasn't happy at all. I wanted her to leave me, but I also didn't want her to leave me. I selfishly wanted to keep her by my side, so I said those awful things. I promise to be good to you for the rest of our lives. Amelia, if you want, you will always be Mrs. Hayes. We can just go on as before. And her, I'll buy a villa and set her up there. I won't let her bother you. Amelia slapped me across the face. Ethan, get out. The day I was with Haley, I thought a lot. I thought divorcing Amelia was the best choice. I took Haley home with me, determined to be with her. Amelia calmly presented the signed divorce agreement and left. The next morning, I went back and saw her packing. I wanted to rush over, hug her, and say, don't leave me, but I was no longer worthy, no longer had the right. My clenched fists loosened helplessly. I brought you breakfast. You should eat something before you pack. At the dining table, I told her she could have the house. Amelia said, no, thank you. I knew she didn't want to see me, didn't want these memories anymore. After the new year, I went back. The housekeeper was cleaning. I asked out of habit, where's the mistress? We haven't seen her since we got back. I knew Amelia was probably gone. I pushed open the upstairs bedroom door with a trembling hand. Amelia was not there. All her things were gone. At night, I stood on the balcony, smoking. I looked at the familiar phone number over and over, then closed the app. Are you asleep? Where are you living now? I typed and deleted, never sending a single message. I closed the messaging app and chain-smoked several more cigarettes. During the day, I acted normal, spending time with Haley. The child in her belly was mine. After all, a Hayes. My parents only had me. They had always wanted a grandchild. Now they would have one. After Haley gave birth, she found out I was dying of cancer. She was no longer gentle and kind, but a shrew. I thought I was so lucky to meet you. I was pregnant with your child. I could marry into a rich family. But who would have thought you were dying? I'm so young. I don't want to be a widow. Ethan, why? You gave Amelia half your fortune when you divorced. I gave you a son, and I get nothing, not even a wedding. I owed her that. Haley's eyes were filled with hatred, her questions hysterical. And what about me, Ethan? In the end, you only ever loved Amelia. My voice was dry, my tone indifferent. You're not even a strand of her hair. I only married you because of the child in your belly. I never loved you. Haley lost control. She swept everything off the bedside table, including the water glass in my hand. Ethan, you hypocrite. Your illness is your punishment. I closed my eyes, unwilling to look at the madwoman before me. If Amelia were here, she wouldn't be like this. Amelia would cry, would feel sorry for my illness, would take care of me. My assistant came in. I pushed myself up and motioned for him to give the card to Haley. There's 10 million in here. You can go. Haley was unwilling but still took the card. Everyone thought she had taken the money and run off with someone else. No one knew that I had had her sent to a mental institution under a new name. Since we had been together, jewelry, villas, Whatever she wanted, I gave her. I even paid off her father's debts. Why couldn't she just be content? How dare she ask me for 200 million? She deserved a bad end, just like me. It's better for her to be insane. After I die, she won't bother my parents. And that child doesn't need a mother like her. The Hayes family will give him the best of everything. The pain was excruciating. Every day was a living hell. Fortunately, heaven wasn't completely cruel to me. It let me see Amelia one last time. She was still so beautiful, just like the first time I saw her at the party, but she seemed to have really moved on. No longer in love with me. I had tried so hard to win her over. And then I had gone to great lengths to marry her, to make her my wife. Mrs. Hayes, we could have separated in a more dignified way, but I was possessed, chose to cheat, chose to hurt her so deeply in such a way. It was you, Ethan, you who lost her. You can't blame anyone else. All of this is your punishment. I let out a bitter laugh. Fine. It's better that she's moved on. My Amelia deserves a better life.